transition to a matchup on Monday night. It's the 1-0 Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to H-Town to take on the 0-1 Houston Texans. The Texans are favored by 2.5 points. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. The over-under for this matchup is 42.5 points. Let's start off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, they are coached by Todd Bowles. The Bucs, they started off the season with a win over the Falcons in Week 1. It was a NFC South battle in Atlanta. The Buccaneers beat the Falcons 23-20. And I thought Baker Mayfield got off to a really, really good start for the 2025 season. He went 17 of 32. He threw for 167 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. And I thought the player of the game for the Buccaneers, though, was Emeka Egbuka. Egbuka had 4 receptions, 67 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. But before I talk about Egbuka, I want to talk about Baker Mayfield. Last year, I thought Baker Mayfield played great football for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I believe he played at an elite level for the Buccaneers last year. Last year, Baker Mayfield, 41 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. He had 4,500 passing yards. He completed 71% of his passes last year. And I felt like last year, Baker Mayfield put himself in that top 10 quarterback conversation. And honestly, he is in the same boat and on the same level as the Justin Herberts of the world, the Jordan Loves of the world, the Jaden Daniels of the world. Baker Mayfield is in that conversation now, and he's only getting better. And one of the things that I thought was interesting was you never know what you had until it's gone. And we all can take a page out of the you never know what you have until it's gone book, because we've all been in relationships or marriages and we have broken up with our significant other and we got outside and we realized that outside is not what we actually wanted, and we miss that old thing, and you want that old thing back. And I guarantee you that's exactly how the Cleveland Browns fans and their organization feels when they watch week in and week out Baker Mayfield playing at an elite level for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Seriously, like, if you are a Browns fan, it has to make you sick to your stomach watching Baker Mayfield ball out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because Baker Mayfield has elevated himself into that elite quarterback conversation with his play over the last 2 years. He has been balling. Seriously. And I'm looking at the Buccaneers overall offensively. Obviously, at receiver, you still got Mike Evans. Mike Evans, I believe, is one of the most underappreciated all-time great receivers in NFL history. You got Chris Godwin at receiver. He has not returned back from his season-ending injury last year. But you still got Emeka Egbuka. And I think Emeka Egbuka, the more that he plays in this Buccaneers offense, he's only going to get better. He's only going to get better. He was balling at Ohio State. He was balling at the Ohio State. So just imagine once the Buccaneers get Chris Godwin back, that trio of Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka, and Chris Godwin, that could be the best trio at the wide receiver position in the NFL. And at running back, you still got Bucky Irvin. You still got Rachaad White. Okay, I love this Buccaneers offense. And last year, they were able to score 23 points against the Falcons, and they didn't have Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs is their left tackle. He didn't play against the Falcons last week. And so I like their offensive line. I just like the Buccaneers offensively overall. Now, last week against the Falcons, the Bucs, they had 101 rushing yards. They had 159 passing yards. So they had 260 total yards of offense. I expect the Buccaneers to average close to 300 yards of offense as the season wanes. They are one of the best offensive teams in the NFL. And I like their running back tandem with Bucky Irvin and Rachaad White as well. Now, defensively, when you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Todd Bowles is a defensive head coach. So his signature is defense. And I say it all the time. Whatever your signature is, that side of the ball should be at least average or even good, because Todd Bowles is a defensive mind. So I expect the Buccaneers defense to be at least average. The same way I expect the Packers offense to be at least average. I expect the 49ers offense to be at least average. I expect the Rams offense to be at least average. I expect the Chiefs offense to be at least average, because the Chiefs, Rams, Packers, and Niners, they have Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, and Andy Reid as their head coaches. And their expertise is offense. That's the same way I view Todd Bowles. And I think defensively, when you look at the Buccaneers, you still got Vita Vea on that defensive line, okay? At linebacker, they did bring back Levante David, all right? They got Hassan Reddick, who they brought in free agency. He's going to help them with their pass rush. In their secondary, you still got Jamel Dean. You still got Antoine Winfield Jr., okay? I like the Buccaneers secondary as well. And overall, I like the Buccaneers football team. And I believe the Buccaneers are the favorites in the NFC South. And they have made the playoffs the last 5 years. The only other two teams who have been in the postseason the last 5 years are the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a well-oiled machine. And to me, the two best teams in the NFC are the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. But there is a team that could potentially knock off the Packers and the Eagles, and that's the Buccaneers. I believe the Buccaneers, they are loaded with offensive talent, and they got pieces defensively as well. And so I believe the Buccaneers will have some success throughout the season. And so they're going up against the Houston Texans. And the Texans, they lost week 1 to the LA Rams. They're obviously coached by DeMeco Ryans. And their quarterback is C.J. Stroud. And C.J. Stroud, last week against the Rams, he did not play well. He went 19 for 27, 188 passing yards, but he had 1 interception. And to me, I thought last year C.J. Stroud really took a step back. And he truly had a season that could be defined as a sophomore slump. C.J. Stroud, in his first season as a rookie, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 4,108 passing yards for the Texans. In his sophomore season, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 3,727 passing yards. And so I thought last year Stroud took a step back. I still believe Stroud's a top 10 quarterback, but he took a step back last year. Now, they had a lot of injuries last year offensively. Stephon Diggs was out for the season. He tore his ACL. Nico Collins was dealing with some injuries as well. And that offensive line, they gave up a lot of sacks last year. And so I feel like the Texans, they are in a situation right now with Stroud to where they got to get better offensively. They have to get better offensively. And the Rams, they had 3 sacks against the Texans last week. So as much as I want to blame C.J. Stroud, I can only blame C.J. Stroud so much. I have to blame the Texans' offensive line. The offensive line has to get better. I'm looking at this Texans offensive line. At center, you got Jake Andrews, okay? You got Larkins Tomlinson at left guard. At right tackle, you got Titus Howard, okay? Right guard, you got Ed Ingram. They got to get better on the offensive line. They got to protect C.J. Stroud if they want to have any chance at being able to compete in the AFC. They got to get better overall as an offense, and it starts with their protection. But the thing is, when I think about these young quarterbacks in the NFL, the following quarterbacks to me have taken a step ahead of C.J. Stroud as far as their development. Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Baker Mayfield, and Jaden Daniels. Right now, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels, and Baker Mayfield are all better quarterbacks than C.J. Stroud. Now, this could change by the end of the season because I believe in C.J. Stroud's upside and I believe in his potential. But they got to get better offensively and they got to be able to protect Stroud. And against the Rams, they went 2 of 9 on third down. They only had 151 passing yards. So they got to get better overall offensively. They didn't even have an 100-yard rusher in that game. Now, defensively, I love the Texans. I think they have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and I thought they did a pretty good job against Stafford. Stafford, he didn't even have 250 passing yards against the Texans defense. And we know DeMeco Ryans, his signature is defense. And the Texas defense, they held the Rams to under 100 yards rushing, and they held the Rams to under 300 yards of total offense. And so I like their defense. Obviously, with their defense at the defensive line spot, you got Will Anderson Jr., you got Mario Edwards Jr., okay? You got Danielle Hunter, all right? In their secondary, you got C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You got Jalen Petrie, okay? You still got Derek Stingley as well. I like this Texans defense. And I think right now, the Texans defense is the strength of their football team right now. And DeMeco Ryans is a defensive head coach. So he's a defensive mind. He knows his defense. And I believe the Texans defensively are a top 5 defense in the NFL. And so this is going to be a big game because I think this is a game that the Texans need to win for their confidence. And so with that being said, even though I believe Baker Mayfield right now is a better quarterback than C.J. Stroud, and I believe the Buccaneers offense is better than the Texans offense, I'm rolling with the Texans to beat the Buccaneers at home on Monday Night Football. I'm going C.J. Stroud 23, Baker Mayfield 20. But I do believe it's going to be a close game, and I do believe it's going to be a very competitive football game. But this is a big game for the Houston Texans and their confidence for the remaining of the season. I still believe the Texans are the favorites in the AFC South. I don't believe the Colts, Jags, or the Titans are on the Texans level. But the Texans got to get better offensively. They got to get better offensively. C.J. Stroud, 23. Baker Mayfield, 20.